Hello and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. In this video we're going to look at the last deck from Conflux, which is Naya Domain, which is white, red, green. And yeah, let's just dive into this, start looking at it. So, for some insane reason, well not insane reason, for reasons I maybe don't fully appreciate or understand, Wizards decided to put a domain into the middle set of Alara block. So we had Shards of Alara, which was focused on triple color, and then in in Conflux, which is a smaller set, like 150 cards, there's something like, oh, let's do domain. So then you're pushing towards like 5 color mana bases, I guess. And I don't understand why, because then when we get round to Alara Reborn, which is the next set, we just forget this and we go back to kind of like 2 color combinations. So this is the weird middle ground, I suppose, where we're just like we could make domain work in a small set. I mean, it doesn't, in my opinion, but anyway. So yeah, this is so in my opinion they do Naya dirty as a shard by like trying to make it into the domain color rather than just sort of like doing more of the behemoths. But at least it's doing something different, whereas all these the other Conflux decks have just kind of been the same as the Shards of Alara decks, just kind of using different cards, I guess. But yeah, anyway, let's start talking about the cards. So we've got 3 domain cards here. So we have Aven Trailblazer, 2 and a white for a 2/X with flying. Its toughness is equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control. So tops out of 5. There are all 5 land types in this deck. Only it'd be hard to get to, honestly, as we'll see when we hit the mana base. But yeah, this tops out 5. So 2/5 flyer for 3 is, I'd say that's pretty good. I would say with domain, it's always like the magic number. I think is always like 3. Once you hit 3, it's sort of okay. Then like you're getting an okay deal. Actually, on the Trailblazer, I'd say if domain was 2, this would be alright, because then that's Windrake stats, I suppose. So even Trailblazer's alright, I suppose. 2 Matka Rioters, so 2 in the green, XX, and their power and toughness is just equal to your domain count. So, yeah, again, potentially if you get like this as a 5/5 for 3 mana, that's obviously very well costed. Yeah, if you can get it for 3, then it's kind of, Centaur Courser. Yeah, it's okay. Just I wish it did sort of something else, but it is a common, I suppose. And then a single Wandering Goblins, 2 and a red for a 0/3, has domain. You can pay 3 and it gets +1/+0 till end turn, equal to your domain count. So I think it's just worse than Rioters. You should have to sink like a lot of mana into it to just make it worthwhile. The fact it doesn't have like even if it's just like 1/3 and had this ability, I think it would be okay. But yeah, I'm not so impressed by Wandering Goblins. But yeah, that's I think pretty much all the domain creatures. There's a few domain spells. We'll look at them, but then with I don't know, like the deck design is just like, all right, we'll have a few domain creatures. All right, now we'll go back to the behemoths, like the big creatures, which is Naya's kind of gimmick. So. One of the res in the deck is Megalanoth. So 3, 1 red, 1 green, 1 white for a 6/6. Has Vigilance and Trample, which is like a really good combination, honestly, because it means it can be really threatening when it attacks, and then it's still around to block. Whenever Megalanoth blocks a creature, Megalanoth deals damage to that creature's controller equal to Megalanoth's power. So it's like this really really good sword defense creatures, like like the retaliation ability we sometimes see on red cards. So the fact that this is like a really good attacker and a really good blocker, I think it's pretty good rare. Yeah. A single Paleoloth, so 4 and 2 green for a 5/5. Whenever another creature with power 5 or greater comes in play under your control, you can return a creature from your graveyard to your hand. This is pretty good. Just makes your big creatures gives them a raised dead effect, which could be other big creatures, and then you play them, and you just kind of keep that going. I mean, what you could do, like if you have like one on the battlefield and one in hand, then you can just like I guess keep perpetually cycling them through. So I think that'd be kind of hard to deal with if it picks up momentum. But yeah, I think Paleoloth is alright. So I think 2 pretty decent rares for this deck, I think. Single Woolly Thoktar, just 1 1 red, 1 green, 1 white for a 5/4. No, but so it's just like quite efficiently costed like 3 mana for a 5/4. No other abilities, but it's fine. It hits all the the Naya triggers that care about power 5 or more. It's fine. A single beacon behemoth. Or bacon behemoth, as we called it in our playgroup. So 3 and 2 green for a 5/3. It's kind of like the Mastodon that we saw in the Shards of Alara deck, where it has, you pay to give this ability to a creature with 5 or more. Type creature power 5 or more gets Vigilance until end turn. Again, really wish it just had Vigilance itself, and then could also then give Vigilance out, but it's fine, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It could have been like 5/4 maybe. I say or like 5/3 and have Vigilance. I think that would have been fine for 5 mana. But again, it's common. I guess we don't want to make the commons too good. I suppose we're still in that kind of era of design. A single Craniosaurus, so 4 and 1 red for a 5/2. You can spend 1 and 1 white to give it +0/+3 until end of turn. Again, I just really wish this was kind of just red white and was just a 5/5 on its own without the ability. Because there's no reason. This could be 3, 1 red, 1 white, and it could just be 5/5, and it would be okay. So the fact you've got to kind of pump mana in to make it more survival, I suppose you can get it up to like 5/8 or 5/11, and then it's obviously gonna survive whatever blocks or whatever blocks it or it blocks. But I don't know. It's okay, I suppose. Again, it's just kind of like common chaff, honestly, I think, just to fill space. A single Vagrant Plough Beasts, so 5, 1 green, 1 white, for a 6/6. So very expensive, I think. But you can pay 1 to regenerate a creature with power 5 or greater, which is like a pretty good ability. Very cheap regeneration for all your big creatures. So yeah, I think that's okay. And then a single Ember Weaver just randomly here, 2 and a green for a 2/3 with reach. As long as you control a red opponent, it has +1/+0 and has first strike. Yeah, fine. Some very minimalist defense against flying creatures, I suppose. Yeah, sure. And then moving on to non-creature spells. So we have a single Collider Stone, and I have no idea why this card is in here. So 2 colorless. When it comes to play, draw a card, which is, that's fine. So 5 tap sacrifice, add 1 white, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red, 1 green to your mana pool. So I guess it's kind of, I suppose you could say it's color fixing. Let's say you've got the Megalanoth something or Woolly Thoktar, and you're just like, oh man, I'm just not drawing plains or my mountains or whatever. So at least you could use this to filter and get the colors you need for to cast the triple color things. But then I would think, why would you just not put one of these like in every Conflux deck? Because obviously it's useful to all of them. But also this card sort of pushes you towards doing a 5-color deck, which this deck is not. It's not 5-color. It cares about domain, but it's not 5-color itself. It's not using blue or black spells. I say there was a 5-color theme in Conflux. You had a load of stuff like there was just the card Conflux. That's the Maelstrom Archangel. No, that was Alara Reborn, I think. But there was sort of a push towards 5-color as a sub theme. And I say this card is, I think it's okay. It's a 2 mana cantrip, and I say you can use it to filter mana into you fight 5 colors into colors you need. But I don't know, it doesn't feel right here, I think. We have a single mana force mace, so 4 mana. Domain, equipped creature gets +1/+1 for every equal to your domain count, and it's equipped 3. Yeah. So again, say your domain count is 3. Then it's about the same then as Volshock Battle Gear, then, isn't it? This is okay, I think. It's got like a potentially high ceiling, and it would then be cheap for its cost. But cheap for its cost, you know what I mean? Like the effect would be good for its cost, I suppose. But yeah, okay. I'm really just not feeling the domain. Oh, I lied. There is a black spell. I'm just not really feeling the domain theme in this thing. I think because it just felt so out of nowhere in Conflux. I would have liked to see more kind of focus on triple color or dual color cards rather than branching out into domain, which technically all the Alara deck should do. Everyone is going to have like a domain count of at least 3 because you need 3 basic land types to cast your triple color spells. So I suppose anyway. we have a single drag down, 2 and a black. Target creature gets -X/-X till end turn for every, equal to your domain count. This is pretty good, I think, as far as like domain related removal spells go, because like back in Invasion block, they were usually pretty overcosted. This one I think is okay. Because again, assuming domain count is 3, 3 mana for -3/-3 is alright, I suppose. A single Might of Alara, so 1 green. Type creature gets +X/+X until end turn, where X is your domain count. Yep, that's perfectly fine, I think. Again, you would need domain count of about 3 to make this the same as Giant Growth. So yeah, I guess it's fine. And then 2 Spore Bursts, 3 in a green. Put a 1/1 green sapling creature token into play, equal to your domain count. So again, if you can get 3 tokens out of this, I think it's fine for 4 mana. I suppose if you get more than 3, then again, it's like you're coming out ahead of the curve. But yeah, it's all right. So actually, this is a card that really helps you hit domain, is Shard Convergence. So 3 in a green. Set your library for a plains, an island, a swamp, and a mountain. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. So this basically, it doesn't give you instant domain because they just go into your hand. They don't go straight into play, but it sets you up basically. So this is okay. Deck kind of needed 2 of these, I think, honestly. But then again, at 41 cards, maybe you don't need 2 of them, I suppose. Yeah, it's always going to be a thing with like these 41 card decks. Like effects like this just maybe aren't as necessary because you're working with a smaller deck. I guess you've got more chance of drawing into it maybe. 2 Sylvan Bounties. This is the green super expensive land cycling spell. So 5 in a green. Target player gains 8 life. And has basic land cycling, 1 in a green, discard it, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So in this deck, in all the other decks have had like a basic land cycling spell, which is fine. It helps you, get the lands you need to cast triple color spells. It's pulling more weight in this deck because you need to find your 1 island and your 1 swamp, so you can get full domain. So this is okay. And late game, if you do have a full domain, then 6 mana for 8 life is expensive, but not completely terrible, I suppose. So I do like it for its versatility. 2 Rampant Growth, just classic Rampant Growth. So again, just helps you find your domain, find all your lands, so you can hit your domain count. Yep, having 2 of those is really good, and just generally really helps ramp up into into your big creatures. Single pacifism, Grak. Yep, we all know what pacifism does. And a single Path to Exile. So this is actually a really good card to have in this deck. So 1 white, instant. You exile a creature, and its controller can put a basic land card from their library into play tapped. So yeah, Path to Exile is a really good removal spell. You could, I suppose, do this on do this on a creature of your own if you desperately needed to get a land out to hit domain. It's possible you could do it on, say like a sapling token or something like that, I guess, or so like that Avon Trailblazer, like one of the cheaper creatures. If you desperately need to do it, you could do it, but it's obviously better to exile an opponent's creature. So then the mana base is going to be kind of a little wonky. So 6 forests, 3 mountains, 3 plains, 3 terramorphic expanses, which is really good because you kind of need it in this deck, and then 1 island and 1 swamp. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about just having like one of them, but I suppose that's all you need. You don't have any blue spells; you have a single black spell. So yeah, I guess it's fine. I think you've actually got enough land searching here to maybe make it work. What could have been? So I'm just gonna. I have no idea why Exploding Borders is not in this deck because it's like common and it's fine. Like you could have easily, I don't know, take out, I don't know, maybe the Drag Under out for this. So it's domain, set your library for a basic land card, put it into play tap, then shuffle your library, so it gets you land, which is fine. And then it does X damage to target player, where X is the number of basic land types amongst lands you control. So for 4 mana, it's doing a lot. You're getting a rampant growth effect, and then maybe burning an opponent for potentially 3, 4, or 5. So I think this definitely could have been here. I think it's a little expensive maybe as a way to search up lands, but combine it with the burn is I think really good. And I'm not sure if this got reprinted in Dominaria United because that had a domain theme. So really, I feel like this is a good card for domain decks. What I would have really been interested as well is so Dragon Soul Knight, so 2 in a red, so 2/2 with first strike, which is, I mean, for the time that's pretty good, 3 mana for a 2/2 with first strike. But then it has this crazy ability: if you pay 1 white, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red, 1 green, which you can do because you have land of every type, and this is also a legitimate use for Collider Stone. Until end of turn, he gets +5/+3, gets flying and trample, and becomes a dragon, which is like it's just a super cool ability. Becomes a 7/5 flying trample first strike. That's a win condition there. Yeah, you could have had like one of him in here easy over stuff like, I don't know, like the wandering goblins, I guess, or like, I don't know. This would have been fun in here, I think. And there was a version in white as well, Paragon of the Amasia. So 2 and 1 white for a 2/2 with first strike. Again, perfectly fine. And then 1 white, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red, 1 green. Until end turn becomes an angel, gets +3/+3, and gains flying and lifelink. So again, also like potential win condition there. So either of those I think would have been super super interesting to have in this deck. And I think there was the only ones in red and white that had this ability. There was one in black that has like a ability that requires Wooburg, but it's just like it just gives a creature -2/-2, and it gets +2/+2. Flesh Warper, I think it's called, something like that. And I don't think there was one of these like in green or blue, which feels weird. Because something like this you'd expect would be a cycle, like all these kind of knights, and you play Wooburg, and then they transform into like a big iconic creature type. I don't know, it just seems weird. It seems like an incomplete cycle to me. Cliff Runner Behemoth, I thought maybe as an alternate rare. So 3 in the green for 5/3, has haste as long as you control a red permanent, has lifelink as long as you control a white permanent. I kind of wish sounds like lazy design. I kind of wish there'd been a cycle of stuff like this in every shard, like stuff that benefits you having the permanents of different colors, like of the shard colors, to give extra keywords. I just think it would have been kind of interesting. I'm not sure if it's rare worthy, but then what, potentially 4 mana to get both its benefits is coming down as a 5/3 haste and lifelink for 4, so which is potentially very strong. I don't know. I think the resin here are fine. I think this is just a potential that we could have had. And I thought, same with like the Paragon of the Amasia and the Dragon Soul Knight. Why not just like really double down on like, well, if we're gonna go 5 color, we might as well go big. Have Obelisk of Alara as one of the rares. So 6 mana artifact, and it has like a bunch of abilities, each for different colors of mana, that you gain life, draw cards, kill creatures, do damage to players, buff your own creatures. Like this could have been like a rare. Instead, I say you've got the mana to make all these, to use all these effects. So I think it could have been fun if you wanted to, like, I say, double down on this domain theme. So in summary, yeah, I'm really not, I'm not big on this one, and part of that maybe is because I don't know, I have like a weird hang up with domain. I think it's fine. I don't know. Maybe I just had bad experiences with domain. But my problem is here is like the whole deck is not. I think if you want to do domain, you got to like go all in on it, and like this deck's just not doing it. You've got like a little bit of domain, but then also a lot of the deck space is, oh, we'll do the Naya thing of like big creatures again, and it's not that the two are at odds. It's just I don't know. I feel like the domain strategy theme, like, it deserves more attention, and like I feel like it gets the bulk of the deck to it. You got a lot of land searching and stuff. But no, I don't know. What would have been nice actually in Conflux is to do 6 decks. Like 5, one for each of the shards, and then do a 6th deck just for domain and have that be a 5 color one. That would have maybe been like, I don't know. That could have been a thing. But anyway. So overall, yeah, I'm kind of in the middle about this one, I think. Yeah, and also I just think like a domain deck is hard to do in only 41 cards as well. I don't know. That's the deck size playing against itself, maybe. I don't know. I'm going on about it. But what are your thoughts on this deck? If you got any stories or thoughts or opinions about this deck, please put a comment below. Always like reading those. But we're now done with the Conflux decks. We're going to move on to Alara Reborn in the next video. So I hope to see you then. Until then, thanks for watching and listening. Have a great day.